Oh yeah. Wow. Ooh. Phew. Let's go. Hey everybody, I hope you are doing great. I am so excited to come to you from the vault here at Chicago Music Exchange because I am holding one of the very coolest and most rare Strats I've ever had the pleasure of getting to know and to play. This is a 1963 Seafoam Green over Sunburst Strat. Let's get into it. This Strat is currently on consignment from a very good friend of ours. We could not be more excited to be representing this beautiful piece of history, but not only that, an extraordinary player. As many of you may know, Leo Fender was a very utilitarian guy. He loved to save money. He wanted to trim the fat as much as he possibly could. So when it came to custom colored or rare colored guitars, if anyone were to ever call to place an order for one of them, what he would do in some cases is he would instruct his team to grab a Sunburst body or a guitar that was already sprayed and to use that existing body to spray whatever color it was that the client wanted. In this case, someone most likely called Leo and company and said, hey, I would love a Seafoam Green Strat. They didn't have one in production or available because this is such a specific color. This is not a color that Leo would have mass produced. So what he most likely did is had his team grab a Sunburst body and spray it Seafoam Green, which is so cool. Now, before I go any further into this guitar, I will be citing a couple of references, one of them being guitar.com. They did a really fantastic write-up and review of this very specific guitar. We at Chicago Music Exchange, of course, did our due diligence, as we always do with all of our guitars, specifically vintage of this caliber, and dug into it with a fine-tooth comb. Guitar.com did such a great job in analyzing and going over this guitar that I wanted to cite some of their findings and most definitely give them credit for what they did find. Let's just start by taking a look. You can see that black right there that is peeking through mightily through this Seafoam Green finish. That black is the black portion of the Sunburst finish. And as guitar.com noted, chips near the center reveal clear coats with a yellow tint and traces of reddish lacquer that can be seen around the screw holes and under the neck plate and inside the jack cavity, which does seem consistent with a three-tone Sunburst finish. Hey everybody, real quick, of everyone that watches this channel, 89% of you are not subscribed. These videos take a ton of time and a lot of effort, so if you would please just hit the subscribe button and also please like, that would be so appreciated. Back to the video. Something else that's very important, and one of the many ways that we and others verify guitars and authenticate them is obviously by taking them apart. Now, here's a little history for you all if you did not know this. I absolutely love Fender History. I love Leo Fender. If you all follow this channel, you know that. I love and adore that man. I wish I could have met him. I just think that, man, he changed the world. And I've said it before, actually others have said it before me, so I'll give them credit, whoever it was, but I do believe that Leo got it right the first time, starting with that Esquire. He just got it right. Now, some of this information I'm gonna give you is really nuanced information that I got from a great website called fuzzfaced.net. If you ever wanna geek out on the details and history of vintage guitars, I highly recommend you go check out that site. What Fender would do prior to the end of 1962 is they would use nails as a way of finishing guitars. I know it sounds weird. Here's how they would do it. They would use about 3 to 4 1 1/16 inch nails that would be hammered into the face of the guitar. They would then spray the top of the guitar, rotate the guitar over and let it sit on its nail legs, put it on a Lazy Susan, and then turn it. That way the painter could spray the sides and the back of the guitar. Now, by the end of 1962, they had moved to the paint stick method. And essentially what that was a metal conduit that was screwed into the base side of the neck pocket. They went a step further and screwed that pipe in using the existing screws here on the base side of the neck pocket. And what that did is it allowed then the painter to take the body like so, because remember, there was no neck, but take the body like so, rotate it, and spray it. Now, Fender still used those nails even though they had moved to the paint stick method. They used them until about the end of '64 when they went to a drying tree method of drying guitars. Now, as we look in the neck pocket of this guitar, you can see that someone has masked off the OK stamp that would have come from the factory, sprayed the guitar, and then took that tape off, keeping that OK stamp intact. You can also see that the spot on the guitar where that paint stick existed is not sprayed because obviously the paint stick was covering that. Something else to note is that at one point there were some finished touch-ups that were done. Those finished touch-ups were done with a brush and they were not drop filled. We believe that someone at some point tried their best to remove those touch-ups, although some of them still do exist, but I have to be honest with you, I'm struggling to find them, and I can tell you that it is far from distracting and nothing that would make me want to kick this beautiful '63 Strat out of bed. It is just awesome. All this information and these findings, that being the nail holes, the way the neck pocket appears, the way that the finish is peeking out underneath this Seafoam Green, the tint, all of it supports what was going on at Fender during this era, which is how we arrive at a Seafoam Green over Sunburst. All right, let's get into the specs. This is a veneer board as opposed to a slab board because by the time '63 rolled around, Fender was no longer using those slab boards. It is, however, a Brazilian board. It measures 0.81 at the first fret, 0.95 at the 12th fret. It is an L plate, as you can see right there. The neck stamp dates this beauty to October 1963, and it is a B neck. Let's talk about changes or mods to this Strat. They are modest at best, which is so rare to see for a guitar this old. It has had a refret. That's par for the course. If you want to play an instrument this old, refrets are pretty much always going to happen. It does have a new nut, and you will notice that there is a crack right there in the pick guard. So, see that little gap right there? If you don't know, most all plastics on a vintage guitar are going to shrink over time. That is normal, it's par for the course. Now, when they shrink, especially around a screw, they tend to crack. So what we did, because that crack prevented adjustability in this neck pickup, is we used a longer screw so that this neck pickup could be set appropriately. However, we do have the original screw in the case. This just allows the guitar to play and sound fantastic. This '63 Seafoam Green over Sunburst Stratocaster does come with an era-correct white hardshell case, exactly the same as what would have originally come with this guitar. It also has the original trim arm as well as the ashtray. All right, enough talking. Why don't we do this? I know you want to hear this plugged in. You want to hear it plugged in, so we're going to plug it in. Now, the very nice people, my friends, my employers, at the Chicago Music Exchange shot an incredible video of this guitar with Nathaniel Murphy, who I know you all know. They were kind enough and gracious enough to allow me, little old me, to use that footage in this video for you all. So we're gonna see and hear Nathaniel play this guitar. I would tell you that if you haven't seen that video, you gotta go check it out. The guys did such a banger job on it. So without further ado, here we go. So there you have it, 1963 Seafoam Green over Sunburst Strat, one of my very favorite vintage guitars at the vault right now. It's just extraordinary. As I said before, once in a lifetime opportunity. I don't know when we will ever see another one of these come through. It's heavily documented. Heavily. And we have, of course, done all of the due diligence in verifying what others have seen. It's a magical guitar. Magical, wonderful. Insert every glowing adjective you can find. Thank you so much for watching. I love you all dearly. Until next time, peace and love.